Most people get self-control completely wrong. We think it's about saying no, about resisting temptation, about being stronger than our urges. But what if I told you that real self-control has very little to do with resistance? In fact, the people with the highest self-control rarely feel like they're controlling themselves at all. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you constantly feel like you're fighting yourself, you're already losing. Not because you're weak, but because you're using the wrong strategy. Your brain wasn't designed to resist endlessly. It was designed to conserve energy. Every single decision you make, no matter how small, costs mental effort. Each choice drains a tiny amount of your control. This is why self-control seems to fade as the day goes on. It's not because your motivation just disappears, but because your mental energy does. This phenomenon is known as decision fatigue. The more you decide, the less control you have left for what truly matters. So by the end of the day, your brain starts looking for the fastest, easiest relief available. And that relief is rarely productive. This is the exact reason why people break their good habits at night. Not in the morning when they feel fresh, not when life is calm and organized. They break when they're tired, overstimulated, and mentally spent. Self-control doesn't just collapse suddenly in a dramatic moment. It erodes quietly throughout the day, one small decision at a time. Most advice completely ignores this reality. It tells you to be stronger, to push harder, to resist more. But here's the problem. Resistance is mentally expensive. And your brain, being the efficient machine that it is, always looks for ways to reduce cost. So, what does psychology actually show us works? People with strong self-control don't rely on brute force resistance. They rely on something much smarter: avoidance. They don't fight temptation. They remove it from their environment altogether. Think about this carefully. If a temptation is not present, then self-control is not even required. There's no internal battle, no moral struggle. Just calm, focused execution. This is why your environment matters so much more than your mindset. Your surroundings shape your behavior long before your conscious thought even gets a chance to chime in. The brain reacts first and rationalizes later. If your phone is sitting right there within reach, your brain will want to check it. Not because you're an inherently distracted person, but because your brain recognizes an easy, immediate reward. This happens automatically, below the surface of your awareness. It happens before logic, before intention. Self-control fails when the environment is hostile to your goals. It's not because the person is flawed, but because their system is misaligned. This is where most people misunderstand what discipline really is. They imagine disciplined people are these warriors constantly resisting powerful urges all day long. But they're not. They've simply structured their lives to reduce the number of urges they have to face in the first place. Less temptation means fewer decisions, which means a lower cognitive load. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of intelligence. Ultimately, self-control isn't about willpower. It's about friction. The more friction you can put between you and a bad habit, the less self-control you'll ever need. And the less friction there is between you and a good habit, the more consistent you'll naturally become. This is why small changes matter so much more than dramatic overnight transformations. We're talking about quiet, strategic adjustments. Putting your phone in another room while you work. Preparing your workspace the night before. Making a decision once, like what to eat for lunch all week, instead of deciding every single day. Every time you remove a decision, you preserve your limited pool of control. Every time you automate a good behavior, you reduce the mental cost of doing it. This is the secret behind how calm, consistent people stay on track. Self-control is also deeply tied to your identity. Your brain will protect its sense of self more fiercely than it will protect your goals. If your underlying self-image says, "I'm the kind of person who always loses focus," your behavior will find a way to make that true, not consciously, but automatically. This is why real change feels so difficult. You're not just changing a behavior. You're challenging an identity. And the brain resists threats to your identity far more than it resists simple discomfort. So, what's the solution? It's subtle. You don't force a new identity onto yourself. You prove it. You prove it through small, repeatable actions. Actions so easy, they don't trigger your internal resistance. Each time you complete one of these small actions, it becomes a piece of evidence. That evidence slowly shapes your beliefs. Your beliefs then shape your identity. And your identity begins to automatically shape your behavior. This is the quiet loop of sustainable self-control. There's no intensity, no drama, just simple consistency. We often confuse mental toughness with some kind of aggressive, forceful attitude. But real toughness is restraint. It's the ability to pause, to slow down, and to choose the long-term benefit over the immediate gratification. That ability grows not when your life is chaotic, but when it's structured. Chaos demands constant decisions, draining your energy. Structure reduces them, preserving it. And having fewer decisions to make means you have more control available for when it truly matters. This is why calm people appear so disciplined. It's not because they feel stronger than everyone else. It's because they feel less conflicted. So if self-control feels hard for you right now, don't shame yourself. Instead, get curious. Look at how many decisions you're forced to make every day. Look at how many temptations surround you in your home and workplace. Look at how much noise your brain is constantly trying to process. Self-control is not built by pressure. It's built by design, quietly, deliberately, over time. Because the strongest form of control isn't resisting temptation. It's creating a life where temptation loses its power. Design your environment. And self-control becomes natural.